Hi folks, I just wanted to show you a technique for your modeling. This is going to work well for rounded surfaces. It's good for handles on weapons or swords, nice smooth models, and we're going to be using a few different techniques to create this. So you can see here, if you look on my Maya file here, what I've done is started to create a kind of basic weapon sort of handle shape, like the handle of a gun. And the way I've done this is to use a couple of different techniques. It's a nice quick way to get smooth surfaces that you can then use for your handles on your weapons. Now what you're going to need to do to create this is to use the curve tool. Now if you can see on the left here, what I've got is a series of curves, and I can create these curves. These are like paths in Photoshop or Illustrator. Okay, I've created one, I've duplicated it up, I've just reshaped them a little bit, and then what I've done is I've used a Loft tool to create a surface along these, so it's kind of created this shape for me from these curves. And then finally I've converted that surface into your standard polygon model, so I can then edit that and attach it to the rest of my weapon. Now the benefit of doing it this way is that with these curves, if I make changes to these curves, it will affect this shape, and then when I save and export this as a polygon, I end up with more complex and detailed structures. So first off, let me show you how to create a curve. So what I'm going to do is come up to create, and you've got curve tools here. Now I use the Bezier curve tool, and if I just open this up, and I'm just going to reset the tool. It's quite nice because it shows you how to quickly change things using different shortcuts. But what I'm going to do is just have a little bit of a mess about here and just create one. I'm going to snap to the grid as well, and this is it works the same way as in Photoshop. So if I just click and hold, you can see it's bringing out an anchor point for me. Okay, that means that I'm going to be able to create a curved point. It's not going to be a sharp point. I'll come over here and I'll do the same thing. I will click and drag, and you can see there, because I clicked and dragged on both, I'm getting, I just tapped the screen there. That was clever. Let me just undo that. Let's do that one more time. Because I've got curved structure points, I can create nice curved endpoints there. And then I'll come over here and do the same thing. So click and then drag. If I just click, you see it just ends up with a sharp point. So you can go between the two and select which style you want. But I'm creating like half. If you imagine that you were going to cut half of a weapon handle, cut it in half down the sort of side of the gun. That's what I'm going to do, and then I'll mirror over the other side of it. So I've got a curve. Okay. If I'm happy with that, I'll just use my move tool. Got that selected, and it's Control D to duplicate it and then move it up. Now I've still got it on snap, so that's why it's snapping, and you can see I'm doing a similar thing to what I've got here. I'm gonna copy this up. But whilst I'm doing it, I might just scale it, make changes. So maybe I'll scale it a little bit and kind of move it over here. Oops, keep it up. I'm going to turn snap off actually now. Okay. Alright, that'll do. So it's kind of like coming in a little bit. I'll do Control D again and bring it up. And that would do for that one. Maybe I'll just scale it a little bit. And then Control D, move it up again. And then this time I'm going to kind of move it over here. Okay. So what I've got is 4 curves. And what I'm going to do is use a tool now to loft along these. So I'm going to select them all, start from the bottom. I'm just holding down Shift to select them all. Okay. And then I'm going to go to surfaces. and then Loft. Now what I'm going to do though is click on the open up tool option, and here you can choose if you just do edit reset settings. Now this section span is going to dictate how many subdivisions are going to be created in between these curves. So let's say I just pick 3 for now. Okay, and hit Loft. You can see that it's created it with the detail I want. Now it's created it inside out. It's not a big deal at this stage, but the beauty of using curves is if I just move this out of the way, if I wanted to make changes to that shape, you can move these curves and it will affect the actual loft. So let's say I kind of want to move this in and create more straight. You can see what it's doing. So I've got quite a nice basic shape there. Maybe I'll just do the top one and just make that a little bit straighter. You know, you could scale it and do what you need to do. Okay, cool. So that's great, but at the minute, although this looks like a sort of standard polygon, it looks like you can edit this and add in edge loops and do whatever you want to do with it, just like you could on this one, for example. You can't actually do that because it's still just a surface. So what you need to do is actually convert this into a polygon shape, polygon object. So with that selected, if you go up to modify and then go to convert, you can change the NURBS, so the surface, to polygons. So I'm going to open this tool, and on here, let's just reset the settings. What I want to do is make sure that when it creates it, it's going to convert it into quads, so 4-sided polygons instead of triangles. I'm going to do that for now because it will allow me to model this further and edit it with more freedom, more control as we go on. So make sure you select quads and then apply. Now if I close this, you can see it's a bit of a mess at the minute. If I move that out of the way, you can see what it's done. It's created a polygon object for us now, and it's created it nicely with 4-sided faces. There's a few bits here that are a bit messy, but we can tidy those up when we come to modeling. And then finally, because it's still inside out, you can see it's grey on this side and black on the other. What we need to do is just reverse the normals on that to make it look like normal. So if I just go to object mode, actually I might just go to face mode, select all the faces on here, and then go to mesh display and then reverse, and then the job's good. So as I say, it's a little bit messy here. You can see that we probably need to add in another edge loop just to tidy that up. But what you get is a nice starting point for the handle on your weapon. You can make changes to this and treat it just like any other part of your model. So you can make adjustments and tweak things as you wish. You can be adding your multi-cut tool to add in extra points and any detail that you need, and you can then be merging that and combining it to the rest of your gun and treating it just like any normal polygon mesh. So the beauty of that, the tools that we've covered, so using the curve tool, using the loft tool, and then using the convert to polygon tool, is that you've got a lot of freedom in making adjustments to these. You can see how it changes all of your objects that you create. So you can be continuing to edit this in different ways, and it's good for weapon handles, like on guns. It's good for kind of, you can imagine this like on sort of smooth sort of sword blades, rope, these curves, the lofting technique works for smoother, more organic shapes. So it's a nice little technique there. Okay guys, so hopefully that will help you with your modeling, and I'll see you in session.